We're back with another tournament game, and this time I am not using Hyper Offense, but I am using Balance, and I'm using a team with Offensive Ponyta and Choice Scarf Mudbray. And meanwhile, my opponent is using that famous core of Cottony, Scraggy, and Zigzagoon. And as you can tell by the title, Scraggy is going to be the #1 threat to my team, because at best, Mudbray is a Choice Scarf tie with Scraggy. And meanwhile, I have to worry about things like Zigzagoon, Offensive Staryu, Offensive Ponyta. So it's really going to be, can my Balance team hold on against his Hyper Offense team? And as you may know, I really think Hyper Offense is good, so I think this is going to be an uphill battle. So we'll see how it starts off. And he leads Dwebble, and I lead Natu. And in normal circumstances, I would not like my Natu being knocked off, but in the game situation, I don't really mind it, because if you look at it, Natu doesn't do anything versus Cottony, doesn't do anything versus Zigzagoon, it does nothing versus Scraggy, Staryu, Ponyta, so I'm okay with Natu losing its Eviolite, because a paralysis on Dwebble is much more valuable than an Eviolite on Natu. So I simply get knocked off here, and then I roost, and I'm going to keep roosting until I get a paralysis, because knockoff is not going to be doing enough, and I will get the paralysis eventually. So I do get it here, and this is according to plan. I Psychic, he reveals that he is Berry Juice Sturdy, which is totally fine, and he knocks off again. And here at this point, I predict him to predict me to just keep roosting. So I Psychic predicting a switch, and I get the prediction right, and I Psychic that Ponyta. And Ponyta has to come in, and I pivot into Mianfu, because I figure I have a lot of Ponyta checks. I have my own Ponyta with Flash Fire, I have Choice Scarf Mudbray, I have Marini, and I also have Mianfu with Regenerator. So Mianfu serves as a good pivot to really see what type of game plan my opponent is going for. So Wild Charge does 32, and Flare Blitz after that will not kill me, and I take the Flare Blitz, and I just simply U-turn into Marini. And one thing to note is that perhaps instead of U-turning, I could have directly gone into Marini. That way I save that 57% damage on Mianfu. But at the time, I was not concerned, and this might come back to haunt me later in the game. So that's something to keep note of. Maybe I could have not taken the Flare Blitz. I go Marini, and I reveal that I am Toxic Spikes. And Toxic Spikes is an uncommon move, but here it has a good advantage because everything on his team is weak to Toxic Spikes. And now I'm in 2-hit KO range of Ponyta, and this was a decision I made that this Toxic Spike was valuable to me, enough so that I'm willing to take a Wild Charge from Ponyta. And here it's almost like a prediction game. Is he going to Wild Charge? Is he going to High Horsepower? Is he going to Flare Blitz? So I decide to go to Mudbray, predicting a Wild Charge, High Horsepower, anything, and I get the prediction wrong. But it's not the end of the world because I know Mudbray lives, so this was like a calculated risk basically. I was willing to risk getting the prediction wrong because even if I get it wrong, I'm still going to survive. So calculated risk. And he goes Cottony on the Mudbray. He wants to preserve that Ponyta. And the reason I didn't predict it because I wasn't sure, is he really going to save that Ponyta or not? So I simply Earthquaked here, and Cottony takes very little damage. And I go to Ponyta here, and he uses Memento. And now I have to be a little careful about how I proceed from here. And he goes to Zigzagoon. And Zigzagoon, I have the counter on my team. I have Pharaoh Seed. So he does Belly Drum. Totally fine by me. And I'm simply going to Giga Drain to get my health back. So he uses Thief, fine. Takes damage. Giga Drain. And I'm planning on just killing the Zigzagoon here. But Zigzagoon reveals Facade, which actually kills my Pharaoh Seed. So I didn't expect that at all. So good play on his part and underrated tech. But because he doesn't have Facade, he doesn't have Protect. So that means I can kill the Zigzagoon here. And now he goes to Staryu. And Staryu is very likely to be Life Orb on these type of offensive teams. So it gets poisoned, and I have a decision to make. Do I sacrifice Natu or Mianfu? But the thing is, he can also Rapid Spin here to get rid of Toxic Spikes. So if I know for sure he's attacking, I will obviously sack Natu, because as I mentioned earlier, it's not really that good this game. But I don't know if he's going to spin, or what is he going to do. So I predict the spin, and I stay in, and I die to Life Orb Thunderbolt. And now the game has gotten a little tricky, because now I have to deal with Life Orb Staryu. The Ponyta's not a big deal because it's so low, but I have to deal with the Scraggy too. And that's going to be the main thing. How do I use my resources of Ponyta, Mudbray, and Marini to keep that Scraggy in check? So first what I do is I go to Mudbray, because Mudbray is Choice Scarf and outspeeds. And I Earthquake because everything is weak to Earthquake. He's going to sacrifice Dwebble here, no problem. And now he goes to Scraggy. And Scraggy gets the poison, and it's a very uncomfortable position. How do I deal with Scraggy? Because I have to be careful of Dragon Dance, I have to be careful of him just simply attacking. Very tough situation to be in right now. So what I decide is the value of getting damage is worth it on Scraggy, because I can't risk it. Say I go Natu here and he Dragon Dances, I lose on the SWAT, right? So I just Earthquake, he knocks off, good play on him. So now I go to Ponyta, and this is a critical moment of the game. So pause and think, what would you do here? But basically, Flare Blitz is a 50% chance to kill Scraggy right now. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, so I have to get this 50% chance to kill Scraggy, then I have to win the speed tie versus Staryu next. So all in all, that's around 30% if you count Hydro Pump chance of missing, right? So all in all, it's about 30% for me to win this game, but I can improve my odds, and one way I can do that is if I get one more round of poison damage on Scraggy. If I get one more round of poison damage on Scraggy, Ponyta goes from a 50% kill to a 100% kill. So I decide to sacrifice Natu here. And Natu was useless, but I was preserving the sack for something really important. I was preserving it for a rainy day. So I figured now is my time to sacrifice Natu. Scraggy will take that chip damage, and now Ponyta can Flare Blitz and kill, and then it'll come down to a speed tie between Staryu and Ponyta. So I go to Natu here. He high jump kicks, and I don't die, and that is huge. I don't die here, and I wanted to die. That was my whole point. I wanted to die. He takes damage, and now Flare Blitz can kill. But I don't die, and now he can use me as setup fodder. So I do 47, but he just Dragon Dances on me, and he takes the poison damage. He kills me. He's going to take more poison damage, but it's just not going to be good enough. I am going to just die to this Moxie Sweeper, and I'm going to actually, unfortunately, lose this game right now, just enough. Scraggy has just enough health to finish off the game, and I do lose, and Scraggy was really good this game, and I'm trying to think, what could I have done differently, you know? What should I have done differently? Like, going back to the very beginning, what could I have done differently? Because as far as I think I played well. Scraggy was always going to be dominating, but I had a few chances. So one of the chances I had probably was here when I took that Wild Charge, I didn't need to take the Flame Charge Flare Blitz again. I could have immediately gone into Marini. So I could keep some health on Mianfu, and that would have long-term effects. But even then, that's very minor, right? How strategically could I have positioned myself better to deal with Scraggy? And honestly, I don't know if I could have. Because at any point in the game, he could have mementoed with Cottony to set up Scraggy. And what exactly am I going to do versus that? I tried getting T-Spikes up for Scraggy, but that wasn't really enough, as you could see. So I should have positioned myself better with Mudbray. But how exactly do I position myself better with Mudbray when I also have to deal with Staryu and Ponyta and Zigzagoon? But yeah, anyways, if you like this video, make sure to subscribe. I have been doing a lot of ladder content lately, so let me know what you like. Do you like this match recap, or do you like ladder type stuff better? Anyways, let me know.